Greetings family, I hope you're well and welcome to the Pan-African Drum. My name is Toyin Agbetu and I'll be sharing my cultural review of the BBC series Undercover. Undercover is a police drama that is loosely based on the very real use of undercover police agents spying on civil and human rights movements. It fictionalizes media revelations made throughout 2015 when it became public that at least 7 women had been manipulated into relationships by undercover police officers. Now, some fathered children despite already having families, and most ended up ghosting their victims. You can find out more by checking out the campaign opposing police surveillance, or COPS for short. Now, I'm outside Stockton Police Station where this BBC drama is loosely based on some of the stories here. It follows the path of defence lawyer Maya Okonedo, who tries to uncover the truth about the death of the anti-racist activist Michael Antoine in police custody. Like that of Sean Rigg and many others, this is a case that has never ever really been fully resolved or seen justice served. In the series, Maya's husband Nick Johnson is an undercover police agent doing anything and everything to conceal his identity from his family. Now, this deception includes causing the death of others, such as characters Vernon Early, who is really anything but with his long time to share his alibi story, and Abigail Strickland, who's the copper with a half a heart. Now, before I start, I must stress this review is not about the morals or performances in Undercover. Now, I say that, and maybe there's a teeny little bit about that, but it's not really the main focus. Instead, this is a Ligali review highlighting where the BBC's depiction of Pan-African political and family life was good and wholly wince-inducing inauthentic. And I know many of you, like us in our family, we cringed. So let's first start with the good. Now, first of all, we had a rich, complex family dynamic. We had one child at uni, the other was coping well with disability, we had a mother suffering from fits, a normal self-centered teenager, and we recognise all of this. This is very real, and that was to be applauded. Number 2, positional asphyxia in a prime-time drama. Now, the last time this happened was when the BBC showed the final minutes of Christopher Alder's life, and when no one was brought to justice. 3, we have strong female-male characters. Now, it would have been nicer if the 2 leads, Maya and Julia, didn't follow the acceptable, feisty, light-skinned caricature, but it's good to see on prime-time television that we're having 2 sisters who are strong, who are lead characters. Number 4, now we have a stay-at-home dad, and this is going to be quite controversial because I know, irrespective of the conflicting moral motivations, we've got to acknowledge that 20 years is a great stable foundation for any family to successfully build on. My problem is more that he's supposed to be a writer and that he hasn't published anything in 20 years. So I know some of you don't agree with me, but a stay-at-home dad is a good thing. And number 5, normalising political action. Now, Maya is not an extreme radical, and I love this. Despite the police labelling activist domestic extremism in the real world, the people engaged in fighting the change are like you and I. They're not crazy terrorists. They may be a bit more intense over political matters, but they're also 3-dimensional human beings that have families, make mistakes, dream, laugh, smile, eat dinner, and love. So yeah, that was pretty good. We're normalising political activity. But now we're going to go to Undercover, the 10 cultural mistakes. You ready for this one? Okay, number 1. Imported role model to speak for our community. Now, how can I say this? Time and time again, in dramas and real life, there seems to be this failure for the media and historians to acknowledge the existence of very real African activists that reside within the UK. It's almost as if they don't want to highlight individuals and organisations capable of uniting the African and African Caribbean community into a true political force. So every African History Month, we only get to hear about Martin Luther King, never Malcolm, or Nelson Mandela, never Nkrumah, Sankara, Nzinga, Lumumba, Asante Bookman, Cabral, the list could go on, especially if I incorporate UK artists like Akala or educators like Professor Hakeem Adi or Kojo or Amabani or Tony Warner. We never hear about them, so no activists leading activism in the UK. Wrong. Number 2, the community meeting hall was full of men, and this is Hackney in 1996. Now, I have lived and worked in Hackney all my life, and just as with the first point about there being an absence of real-life activists born and bred in the UK, the presence at community meetings being dominated by men is silly. Whoever thought it up did not and does not attend community meetings. Most of our meetings are filled with sisters, not brothers. So again, that's another wrong. And you need to check yourself with that one. Now, 3. The dry funeral. So okay, they sung that horrendous song by the serial rapist and slaver Newton, which for too many who are unaware of the history is still a staple of African funerals. But nothing else about that funeral was African. From everyone being dressed in black, the tiny turnout, the lack of cultural drums, the failure to celebrate the life of Antwi, the funeral was simply wrong. Number 4? I think I'm on number 4. Okay. Oh, how can I forget? Inappropriate elder. Now, where do I start? Traditionally, African people love stories. We come from a culture rich in orality, but alongside that is a deeply held respect for our elders and reverence for our ancestors. In short, whilst we are socialists and even communists politically, we're a little C conservatives socially. Elders do not tell stories about dildos. I don't know what else to say about this. Wrong. Number 5. Maya accepting the DPP post. Now this one is a bit more difficult to explain. Now you've got to understand that due to our long-standing injustice at the hand of the British state, from Ma'afa, that's enslavement and colonialism, to stop and search and of course deaths in custody, as a rule those of us with activist leanings do not position ourselves in places where we can prosecute or represent the state against our own. We defend. It often means we let fantastic career opportunities pass us by for a greater moral good. We also have to risk defending those within our ranks that are well like OJ. We struggle to sleep with that, but what we do not do is that we do not, those of us are conscious, represent the British government or monarch and get paid to perpetrate injustice. We leave that for the sellouts and those who are politically illiterate. Now, taking a job as head prosecutor of the land, the right hand of the police? Nah, that's just plain wrong. Number 6. The protest march was violent, like those anti-racist rallies against fascists, not a community march. Now this goes back to my first point again about the way African politics are always marginalised or misrepresented by the state, media and academy. Those institutions are just about, willing to accept the existence of anti-racist bodies where they can be easily infiltrated. But any true grassroots movements that are about Pan-Africanism or address historic injustices while seeking reparations are virtually ignored. The protest march in the series are unlike any community march I've ever attended. I've been on hundreds. The level of violence reminded me of those anti-racist rallies where you get a whole lot of well-meaning people, but they're very excitable. And, they always want to fight, whether it's the BNP, EDL or UKIP, whichever is the fascist of the day. Now, true protest movements by African people are much more peaceful. They've got a carnival-type vibe. And if you think about the 25,000 at New Cross massacre or the recent reparations march, which the media, by the way, failed to cover 2 years in a row, we've got to understand that community engagement in violent anti-racism on the marches, nah, it's wrong. And that dovetails into number 7, the plan to firebomb the police station. Again, what community organisation, when asked what are we going to do next, suggests firebombing the police station? This is just pure foolishness. Even the uprisings of 2011 took place after the police were disrespectful to a young woman, after they'd murdered Mark Duggan in cold blood. Perhaps we need more of us to watch films like The Spooky Set by the Door, Catch a Fire, but in the meantime I have one word for that suggestion. Wrong. Number 8, I think. Number 8? Yes, number 8. Supremacist killer instead of a police custody death. And if I'm thinking about this, Peter Mackey, the rapid racist, attempted to murder our brother, and now the police officers Rose and Trimble are the heroes offering information and a high-definition VHS tape. Nah. They need to go to jail. Everything else is just, again, plain wrong. Number 9. The family has a dog. Its name is Rocco. Now, I'm not sure if they ate from the same bowl, went to bed with it or kissed it on the lips, but really, Rocco is still not modern African life. Wrong. We don't do dogs. And number 10, I think the last one, chicken and dumpling soup. What the... Look, that's just wrong. We don't... Wrong. Anyway, there you have it. My review of Undercover, culture review. Let's hope the final episode fixes up some of these terrible mistakes. I want to thank you for watching. And as ever, I'm going to say may the ancestors guide and protect us. Ashe.